Is there a second? It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the request for Head Start to trade in their 2 oldest vehicles and make purchases of 2 new vehicles, 2 new used vehicles. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. Lori, will you please take roll?
Sedlin,
Yes.
Haley,
Are we allowed to give feedback?
Macbeth,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Okay,
Kramer.
so we just watch them, they won't
Motion
take input
carries.
from the public.
Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
You
Unless
are
the
welcome.
president addresses you.
Yeah, he's coming back up to get you.
Oh, kind of like a way of court.
We will move on to the TGU Community Foundation.
Then why can't,
Here to put some
has
information
anybody
on
tried
the
to push for a
foundations
rules change?
in the packet.
You have to be on the agenda.
Again.
So yeah, I just put the
You have to do that like a week prior to.
webpage, I copied some information off there, and then
I'm still trying to figure out about the meeting. Everybody keeps having a hissy fit about me recording them.
specifically interest rates on the endowment fund and the governing board, and those type of things, so.
Was there any other questions or comments or? I really don't see a downside of,
Let's go over this again a little bit. I can't, I mean, the endowment is the,
So, yeah, I can give you a rough overview. So, basically what it is, we can create a foundation to where we can accept charitable donations to the school. And then they'll run
So we just sit here and watch them?
whatever, the organization part of it, so we don't actually have to have the.
I just don't understand why people are happy about this.
Portion of running a national foundation, so we use their credentials for that. What would essentially happen, or the process for the school district is the board would make a motion to create that.
Actually, I got a bit of information about
And then you have two
vehicles.
options as far as
Used
what
is a good
type of
idea,
account you can set up.
but make
You
sure you
do
can
them
maintain it for
in
a
either
long
order,
period of
you can
time.
do both, you can do one, you can always add if you
I
like.
guess I'll talk to you afterwards. It's kind
So
of scary
there's an
about the
endowment
new ones.
fund, which requires a $25,000 initial investment. You can't ever withdraw those funds, but you will always have access to the interest that's accrued from it. So the goal is to have 7% interest on that particular account. And so, like I said, you have a $25,000 minimum in that account to set it up. If the board were to create an endowment fund, we would then have 3 years to actually generate that $25,000 for said account. The other type of fund would be a project fund. There is no minimum for that, and in that fund, the actual fund itself doesn't generate any interest. There's actually a 3% fee charged to every deposit that you make into the fund, but then those funds are immediately available for the school's use. Typically, that would be, I'll just kind of utilize the example that Chelsea's generating funds for right now. So if we had a large project like the stage curtains and we were going around collecting monies rather than depositing those into a school account, you could put them into the community fund account. And then those dollars would be separate from anything that we have here at the school. So it would be completely
okay.
separate.
And the 3% fee that they're taking out of those,
Yep.
they're providing us then with, they're handling the money.
Yep.
They're taking care of the tax issues with it,
Correct.
all the legalities of it.
Yes.
and we can earmark funds for certain things
So,
and they keep that separate.
And we don't have to worry about trying to do it in our own.
right.
Okay, and you have, if we went to with an endowment, we would have 3 years to raise the $25,000 that is required, right?
Right.
But there's no, we don't gain any interest until there's money in there, right? Do they?
Right.
They don't.
I assume if you put the 5,000, and this is an assumption,
Right.
you'd gain that 3%.
Right, whatever's in there.
On that 5, but you
Yeah.
wouldn't actually get any of those
Right.
funds until.
Yeah.
You know, you got 25.
Yeah, and that can't be, only the interest can be taken out of that.
Right.
It would, and I think that would be more like, we had that large lump sum donated a couple of years ago, that 90,000. That would have been a scenario where we could establish.
I think for like, if we were to pursue an endowment, I think we would wanna do some legwork before we
Yeah.
pursued setting up an account like that to make sure that we knew we were gonna get to our 25 at least in 3 years.
So here's the question for all you money folks over here. Okay, the 3%, is it worth what we save? I mean, are they saving us money by running it through them, at 3%?
I think for alleviating some stress
The-
in the office and,
Okay.
and it's then a charitable donation that they can claim on their taxes, right?
Right, yeah, so like, if you donate to me,
Yep.
you know, I can write you a receipt or whatever,
Right.
it's gotta be over a certain amount, and you can claim it, but,
There would be an
What-
incentive, is what you're
yeah,
saying?
I think what's
Right.
nice about that is like, as a school, we have a lot of restrictions in law on what we can use our funds for. Whereas like having this, it takes out those restrictions.
Okay.
Where you can.
Yep.
You know,
Okay.
use them for other
Okay.
things.
So there maybe isn't, maybe just the I mean, the 3% is hard to try to say that this is where we're gonna save the money. It's more in headache and we can do more things, so that they're laundering their money.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
When we make a motion in order to establish like a project fund through them, do we have to have how our governing body will be established before they will open a fund, or is that?
So there's really no stipulation on how that functions. And so the board could simply state, if you chose, that you're going to operate this fund as the school board. So I think because there's not, and again, this is just my assumption of how you could do it, but because we don't have a large lump sum that you'd actually be putting into that currently, it would probably be easiest to run it as the board for now, and then at some point, if you had another organization that you thought you could give it to or hand it off to, that at that time you can do that as well.
Is it possible or legal if we had any extra money in the building fund to put in there?
No.
that would be money laundering, Terry.
That's laundering. That's what Kurt says.
Cannot take money out.
No,
No,
No.
can't take it out of there unless it's a project that we are using it on.
You don't have money.
no, we wouldn't put tax dollars into this account, Terry. This would be solely generated by public donation.
Any other input on it?
So what do we do next?
Well, really, it's up to you guys. You could generate the fund, you know, and just kind of another example, if you wanted to, you know, if there's a community member that said, we'd love to redo the softball field in Granville in preparation for a team, an individual could come to the board and say, hey, I've got all this money, I want to set up an account in that community fund and earmark it for that, and we could have that as a rolling account fund, right, or within that account, that could be a rolling fund, so that's another one of those advantages that you would get here. As far as what your next steps are, it's kind of up to you whether or not you wanna establish that now, or if you'd like to wait until you had a sum of money. It's kind of, the fees are only generated when you deposit on the project fund, so there's really
There's no other fees for
initial
adding.
cost, no.
Do we?
If we don't don't have it, there's no way we can advertise it to
Right.
people as
Yeah.
something that.
I was just gonna say, maybe, you know, if we vote to approve this, we can send out in a newsletter or something, hey, we have this fund available, if
Yes.
you have some year-end spending you need to do.
Yeah.
For tax purposes, might not be a bad time to do that, so. I guess I don't really see a downside to having one.
Well, they're not gonna charge us a fee for just having it. There is, I mean, there would be no downside, right?
Right, yeah.
Anybody think of one? John, do you think of a downside to it? Yeah, I move that we, okay, so what do we need to pursue? Huh?
Needs to be a board led.
And just,
Okay, so move that we, so we say that we're gonna, a motion to establish this then? Move that we establish a project fund through the NDCF, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
And that is school board led?
is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, there's been probably moved and seconded to establish a project fund through NDCF with it being led by the school board. Right away, is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. Lori, will you please take roll?
Haley,
Yes.
Macbeth,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes,
Kramer,
Yes.
Sedlin,
Yes.
motion carries. Thank you. And I don't know, is that appropriate to send something out that, hey, we're establishing this fund? And
I'll get some information from them, and I think we could
they
certainly put
probably
that
have
out,
something.
you know, on Facebook and website, just say, hey, here's a new opportunity, so.
We'll move on to North Dakota School Board Association Convention. I was unfortunately the only one able to make it because of weather. I left right away Wednesday night to get down there, so I did make it. And I just kind of wanted to touch base with everybody on some things. I did, so during that, there is a lot of times for us to have, our regional meetings in there, so all the school boards of certain regions are able to go and have input. And I did bring our concerns forward during that meeting, of how do we have representation with the school board association? How do they make their decisions? How do we make our voices heard as the local school board? Because for us, we're expected to vote and do things according to the people who elected us. And as such, they should move as we would like them to do, or seek our input on things, on bills and things that they're promoting. And it kind of raised quite a few heads, actually. Kind of put a target on my back to become on committees. So,
Sorry, Abby.
so thanks for that, Kurt.
You bet.
I don't think I didn't put your name out there though, too, so, you might be getting a call. But I did have quite a few school board members from other boards come up and thank me for bringing that up because they had the same concerns. And so what came out of that is they are going to look at how they're communicating things to the local boards. One of the things was, well, you can always call us and talk to us. But I said, well, how do we know what we need to call you and talk to you about when we don't know what's coming up on the board's agenda for their next meeting, or what bills are coming up in legislation and things. And so that it sounds like they're gonna come up with a better program of how to get that information out to us in time for us to have some input on it. They also said the best way to be informed always is to watch out when Alexis sends out information on being on the legislative committee or the governing, I can't remember the full name of that committee, but there's a couple committees there that they're always looking for people to be a part of. And so from that, she actually called me and said she's gonna be in the area, she needs to go to rugby on the 13th and would be available that afternoon and evening if we would like to get together with her and voice our opinions, our grievances, things, and just ask questions that we may have of her. So, if that's something we wanna do, I can sure give her a call back and work something out. Like I said, she's gonna be in rugby, but staying in Minot, so she said we can meet in town or we can meet in Granville, wherever works best, if that's something we wanna go forward with. Just so that, she can answer any questions directly that we may have about the benefits or the pros and cons of school board association and how the committees work, how the board of directors works, that kind of thing, so. Otherwise, it was a really, really good couple of days. A lot of information, the breakout sessions were really good. One of them I did go to was about the Be Legendary deal, and we're gonna talk about that next, but, one of the biggest things that, from one of the keynote speakers, was building trust in your communities. And so, basically just being proactive in our communities and doing the things that we say we're gonna do, and showing them that we appreciate our community members, even if they're not parents of our students, but making sure that information is out there so that other community members can be involved, or, just so they know when games are, when they know when our one act play is, when they know all of the activities, because they like to see those things and they like to be informed on those things. So I think just, that was one big thing I took away from that, is just making sure our community is up to date on our activities and know that they are welcome to come to any school event that is going on. So, yeah, I guess that was kind of all I had for that, but some pretty good sessions, I thought. So, any other questions on that?
Thanks for making it known.
Yeah. My car I did have some problems. My starter went out, and so my car did get towed from the hotel, but it's okay.
Which day did you say she was gonna be after going to rugby?
The 13th, which I believe is next Monday. Yeah, so,
When you discussed that, the representative, did they understand, like, the fact that, we're elected by a group of people, and then I call it, like, I have a term for it, it's political layering.
mhm,
So that the people that are actually being affected by all these things that they're coming up with
mhm,
are way down here, and they've gotta go through 3 different groups in order to say, we've got a problem with something,
yeah,
And so then the people at the top are kind of insulated from all of it.
yeah, I brought that up a couple times in different ways to make it a little clearer
Yep.
to them of that, cause like they said, well, just call us, let us know, or email us. Well, we don't know what we need to be emailing you on because we don't know what's coming up.
Right.
And so, and I put it out there that way of that we're elected by our members of our district. You guys are elected by us, the school districts in your region, so you should ask for input from us like we ask input from our community members. And so by the end, it was clearer of that type, of that situation, yeah.
Debbie,
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you bringing that up and going down there, because that's valuable information.
You're welcome. So if there's nothing else with that, I think we can move on to the Be Legendary School Board training. This was one of the breakout sessions that I went to. John, did you get one? Yeah. So it was West Hope, was the board and superintendent that were present, that were kind of on a panel to talk about it. And they had nothing but good things to say about it. And one of the biggest, parts that they said was beneficial was that it kind of, and they did it with 2 or 3 other school districts, I think, or at least one other one with them. they said it really helped to break down the barriers that school boards usually have. Like it made each member kind of become a little vulnerable and go out there and say like, well, why'd you go for the school board? Why do you know? And it broke down those adult problems that we have to come onto the school board so that we can focus on our students and why we are on the board and what our purposes are. And I just think that would be something really beneficial for us to look into. I do work with a board member from Velva, and they have not done this training yet, but they're interested in it. And so, you know, if we do decide to go through with it and are selected for the grant and everything, you know, it wouldn't be the one school board price, it could possibly be the 2 school board price, and maybe there's another school in the area too that would be interested in doing it as well. I wish I had the list of, I should have taken a picture of the list of all the schools that have done it. Rugby has done it and has found it very beneficial. Like I said, West Hope, Newburgh did it. I don't believe Drake has. I was just trying to focus on the ones that were kind of in our area. I believe Botno has been approved for it and will be doing it, if I remember right. But just something I thought was maybe a beneficial idea for us to go to. If you look at the 6 things on there of what it really is trying to do, you know, the first one is to adopting student outcome goals, and I think that's ultimately our biggest thing we need to be doing is looking at setting goals for our students and following through with them, and hoping or figuring out ways that they can meet those goals. So I guess, how does everybody else feel about it? I know we talked about it in previous meetings, but listening to other board members talk about how beneficial it was really kind of made me think we really should look into it more. I guess from my perspective anyway.
I think it's a good idea, because we are here more than just approving bills,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all we've been doing for the last how many years, so.
And it's, if we wanted to go ahead with it, we just send an application for the funding, right? Because they fund half of it. DPI does.
On the application, do we have to have a school or schools that we would have partnered with on that app, or is that something that we can pull up later?
That I didn't go into, sorry.
I was just curious, 'cause like if Drake Annis wanted to do it, then that would be 3,
Right.
because each of them are separate
Is
districts.
this in Bismarck?
They come to a central location, I believe, so we wouldn't have to go to Bismarck. They could, you know, if we do it with Belleville, we could go to Granville and do it, or whichever site.
In this, we set up our own time to work.
Right, yep, and it's a 2-day training.
It doesn't say on the first page whether or not you have to designate who you'd be working with, but I assume it's on there somewhere.
The application period is open through December 31st.
Yep. So I mean, we wouldn't necessarily have to decide on it today, but I just wanted,
If we wanted,
To give
we
you the
need to
information.
decide on it at the next.
yeah, we would have to decide in December if we wanted to apply for that. So, and if you want, I mean, I can visit with Lance that's on the Velva board too and see if they are, and I can reach out to Drake Adams board members too, and see if they were interested at all in doing it. And we can probably find out.
Forward with it and see if they wanna join us.
Okay, yeah, we can do it that way
Yeah,
too.
that might be easier, saying, hey, we're doing this, do you guys want a cost save with us?
It says here on a first come, first served basis while the funds are available.
Yeah.
If there are other
Is there a second? If you didn't hear Terry, John move ahead with, putting an application in with the Legendary School Board Leadership Program. Terry seconded it. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any discussion?
I'm for it, but I have a healthy skepticism of both school board association and our public instruction, so, just so everybody knows.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. Lori, will you please take roll?
Macbeth,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Sevlin,
Yes.
Bailey.
Motion carries. Thank you, guys. Okay, we can move on to the superintendent evaluation. I did upload that this afternoon, sorry I didn't get in there earlier. I did want to, before we approve it, just, with Kurt, with your comment on the ones and twos meeting.
Yep.
But not the threes and fours, or should be threes and fours. The reason I think that for sure the ones and twos are important is because, this is put into the superintendent's file, and if we don't have comments on why there was a 1 or 2 rating given, if Mr. Sweet was ever to seek other employment, they can look at those evals and see, well, you got 1s and 2s, but no rationale for those. And so I think it's not so much of the superintendent not asking for clarification on those. It's more of, it's in a written record of why those 1s and 2s were given for future people's references in case they're needed.
Yes, it does, yes, it does, but, yeah, okay.
Any other comments?
But are these evaluations for us at all, then, or, I mean,
Well, yes, they are, and those
which
things.
then, I mean, I'm just talking that way, then do we not need justification for 4s and 5s? Cause I'm kind of an old school evaluator.
Mhm.
I don't think that, if I evaluated myself as a school board member, it would be 2s across the line, you know? I'm not gonna give away numbers just
Mhm.
because, you know, and I mean, if we're gonna make a serious evaluation, which I think also would open up some dialogue between school board and superintendent too. And I guess last time I did my and after I did that, I felt actually kind of that I should have wrote some comments, but I thought that maybe we would be able to have a discussion then at some point in time, you know, board members and superintendent, you know, which I don't even know if that's possible.
Well, I mean, it's a self-directed evaluation. I mean, we created this template because the template we came on with was,
Not pertinent.
what, about 36 questions?
Yeah.
30 different
Yeah.
ratings and whatever else. I mean, we're down to 10 and we clustered everything together pretty well. I mean, we can just, or where applicable, or if possible, always leave a comment. I mean, each one of us can leave, we can just require ourselves to leave comments on every single one of them. We don't have to leave a general comment at the end per se, but maybe as we evaluate, if we have a strong feeling one way or the other, we bring up examples or have those conversations. So, I mean, we can require comment from ourselves.
Okay, and I wrote on my comment at the end, kind of, and that's the point of it, okay, so I did, the first evaluation we did, I did write comments. And it was never discussed, I never had any discussion with anybody about it, you know what I mean? It was just, and so, it seems kind of pointless to, you know, I mean, unless we're gonna discuss why we're giving numbers, or, you know, right?
Sure.
Or not.
Well, I get your point. Yeah.
So maybe it was a little sour grapes on my part on the evaluation when I didn't do it last time, but I think a more discussion would be good for everybody, you know, as far as what board members, you know, expect, and also input from other board members on what other board members expect, right? You know?
Yep. make sure we're all on the same page in our expectations.
Well, and maybe somebody has a different point of view that, you know,
Yeah, reading each other's comments can bring it.
it can. But,
Well, I can definitely put on there, you know, just to, if you have a 3 or 4 as well, to put comments in there, or however, you know.
that, I think that would be a great step, that there
Okay.
should just be comments made. And then, and I don't know how you would do it, but is there like a certain time when we can discuss this? We can discuss our stuff with,
I don't know, would that be?
is that legal, illegal, or is it?
No, well, you can, like, depends what you, I mean, you can discuss it openly here.
Yeah.
Or if you want, if you're talking about more of like an intimate setting, you're welcome to call me anytime you want.
Okay.
And that, I guess,
Right.
I'm not sure which.
But if we
Yeah.
wanted the whole board to be present for that, we would need to just call us,
Just
like,
be meeting.
or,
Yeah, we could do it. And like today where it came in late, I mean,
yeah, sorry about that again.
That's probably.
I mean, the only
forgot
one I
all
got
about
on time was Terry's, so.
But mine was on time.
Well, yours was on time,
mine's
but not
outside.
delivered by you.
Well, that doesn't matter, does
But,
it?
so I think for the next verse, or for our spring evaluation,
Comments are,
we'll put, comments are expected on there, but, so for now, we need to approve the fall eval.
And then if we do comments on the next one, I need to be better. I'm just as guilty as everybody else. We need to be better about, getting them in on time, so that way everyone has a chance to look at them, so that way if there are conversation points they wanna bring to the meeting, or if there's something that Eric wants clarification on, we have more than a few hours to look at it too.
Yep.
So, I'll make a motion to approve the superintendent eval.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the fall of 23 superintendent evaluation. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. Lori, will you please take roll?
Johnson,
Yes.
Kramer,
yes.
Sedlin,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yeah,
McFetrich.
Yes.
Motion carries. On to item I, discussion on School Board Association and DPI.
And Ray Holmberg,
Ray Holmberg.
yeah,
I'm not sure what,
state senator, former state senator from Grand Forks. Basically, the School Board Association in the state of North Dakota, along with DPI, we're funding trips to abroad. And he is currently under, investigation for sex with minors.
okay, I didn't recognize the
It
name,
came
but-
up in the article, I just heard about it a couple days ago. Came up in the article that our school board association had something to do with a couple of those trips. And I would like to know who was on them, because they had records, because it said it in the article, that the school board, they admitted that they had some part of it. But I'd like to know who was there, and what part, and why we're sending he was in Prague, I think, the one time. You know, it came up as some kind of a global education initiative kind of thing.
Mhm.
But it sounds really, really fishy to me. And granted, what's that?
What was that, Terry?
I think he's a retired teacher, he hasn't taught in regular classrooms since like early 2000s.
No, it was 2002 he retired, 67 to 2002.
Hmm,
Yeah.
35
But
years.
I think we should pen a letter to them as a school board. And I'd be more than willing to do that, requesting the information on why this is, because this is our taxpayer dollars sent with, and there was more than one legislator that went on these trips. You know, and I don't know if there was any school board association members, or, you know, DPI members, maybe what's her face, the one, no, not her, the one that drives when she's drinking.
Oh,
Baszler.
Baszler. I have no idea who went up with, but I think we should find out, and watch very closely to this, because this is, once again, this is not a grassroots school board association that sends people to Prague.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't seen anything on it that the school board association was involved in, so,
Yeah, and
I
I
saw
don't know,
that.
but
the news thing would pop up and like, oh, great, another.
Yeah.
But, I guess I'm okay with asking those questions.
yeah,
And
and
if you wanna pen a letter, I mean, it's something that we'll all read
Right.
through and approve and
Yep.
send it
the
down.
next meeting or.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Okay.
And we can probably even, I guess, yeah, that, yes.
I'll try not to be too harsh.
We did not decide, I guess, do you want me to ask Alexis about meeting on the afternoon of Monday, 13th, or evening? Well, I wouldn't be able to do it until evening. But is that something you guys want me to pursue? To ask her if she would be willing to meet with us, just for a Q&A type of thing?
That's like next week.
And FYI, when you do that, it would have to be a posted open house.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, cause it would be just like our school board trainings are.
Right.
With her,
That's next week.
next
It's
Monday.
next Monday, the 13th.
She's
she
gonna
would
be in rugby
available.
saying in minus, so.
That's really quick.
And if not, I mean,
Sorry.
we just had a new baby. So, I mean, I can reach out to her again and see if that still works for her, or not, or if there's another time that she'd be up this way.
Yeah, no, let's try to do it.
Okay. I will talk to her about that. Okay, so we can move on to our reports. So, for the first time, we have our student school board members present. We have the reports from them, so if you guys want to just offer up your first tidbits of information for us, whichever one would like to go first.
Alright, so my name is Mars. I am the student member for Granville. I am very delighted to bring quite a happy report from our side of everything. We have had absolute major success so far in the school year with everything to do with structure, fundraising, and just how our school runs. We have had the opportunity to do lots of very exciting things that have to do with traveling. So we've sent students to tech days, UND, and multiple college and career fairs so far this year, which have all been lovely experiences for all of us, especially me. I enjoyed them a little too much. We have greatly improved from last year with our advisorship for our teachers. So a lot of our advisors have created more structures in their classroom and have made it easier for us to function and fundraise and just do the best we can as each of our classes. And so far we have done very well with that. During this year, we have had quite a few pretty exciting days, like presentations to younger kids, dress-up days, and just lots of student involvement in that type of stuff, which has been absolutely a beautiful experience, especially for the younger kids. And I think everything so far has just been blossoming well, and yeah, just going really well on our side of things. So I'm very, very happy to be able to report that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
I made mine about trying to get my whole goal is trying to get the people to enjoy to come to school and look forward to come to learn. So I think what's going well is really there's a lot of kids. Elementary was having fun with the Titan League activities they throw on, which gets them to enjoy the days that they get to come play. The Titan Lead held an activity that had a different variety of stations, and elementary students got to choose what station they want to go to throughout this whole activity. And there were a lot of students having fun and getting to hang out with the kids they look up to and look up to elders or whatever, and they got to actually play with them and have a good time with them and watch them how they act and have a good role and look up to them. And then later that day, the Tight Lead held a dodgeball activity with the high school, and only for 7th through 12th. There was a lot of engagement from the students and a lot of laughing and enjoyment going on. And then there's also the meat class that Mr. Mojan holds on. The student meat class really enjoy the activities that Mr. Mojan lets them do, like process their own meat. They get to season it and cook it themselves and then try it, see how it turns out, and they do that for many different experiments. And then they also go up to Wellstead's meat processing plant to see how they do it up there and get to see how the whole process goes on and everything. And then I also did what can be improved or what I think could be improved and how to maybe solve those problems. Student engagement, like in the classroom, when teachers are doing lectures for notes and stuff, they could ask one student at a time to read a bullet point through the slides or stuff like that teachers can do to get the better engagement, to learn more. And to keep building peer-to-peer relationships between high school and elementary, to have relationships between older kids and really get the younger kids to have better trust their elders more and to watch them more and have a good role model. And there should be more activities where the elementary and high school do it together, like flashlight reading or watching a movie where the elementary student has a high school partner that they hang out with for the movie. And then the third one was a shortage of access to helpful learning ways. Like if there are students that struggle at reading or get distracted easily with loud noises, they should have the opportunity to go somewhere quiet so they can have the time they need to do their assignments with no distractions and no loud noise going on with them. And that's it.
Awesome, thank you.
Ty.
I just wanna say, I'm really excited about this experience for you guys and for us. This is creating a really good opportunity for us to be able to have some more insight into what our students are going through, what they're feeling good about our school, and what they maybe have some grievances on, or what they would like to see maybe a little bit different. So thank you guys for both wanting to be part of our school board and for participating already. And this is very exciting, I think, adventure for all of us. So on to our superintendent report.
Just a couple of items. One is an item we discussed last month. Just want to give a brief update. Haven't received the bids back from the fencing project around the playgrounds. Wanted to update that also because Terry isn't here, and that was one thing that he had asked for on the agenda. I thought it might be nice to wait until he was actually back before we discuss a lot more about that. As I mentioned previously, all of the paperwork has been completed for our math teacher, and actually he's been reaching out to us. He's waiting now simply for a plane ticket, and that I think all of his paperwork was actually approved early last month. So he did say yesterday that he's expecting to be here probably next week. Hasn't got an exact date yet, which is great. We do have an apartment for him in Granville. So Mrs. Wellstead and I are communicating with him a little bit to make sure that he feels comfortable. We're going to work on creating a plan to transition from our current teacher into the new one, make sure that that's as smooth as we possibly can. And one other item that I'll just throw out there, he was a little concerned about having an unfurnished apartment. So we may be hosting a community drive to see if we can help round up a couch and bed for him, and possibly, if it's like my college apartment, maybe
my
God. College love seat and recliner in storage in Granville, and he
Oh.
wants to get rid of them.
Perfect.
Da-da-da-da.
There you go.
Nailed it. Get him an air mattress.
The last thing, and I'll just mention it here, we should have a building committee meeting at some point here in the next couple of weeks come up, so, it's that time of year, so that's all I have for right now.
Any other questions for Eric? Okay, thank you. Move on to Towner High School and Elementary. You guys can pick who goes first. Oh,
I guess I'll just first echo with what Mark said. This month has been really busy, as far as students going to different locations, which is great that our staff are providing those opportunities for our students to, experience different educational opportunities, different instructional opportunities, and then utilizing the resources in the area. I don't have a whole lot to add, other than I was hoping to hear back by today, but we applied for a grant through North Dakota Choice Ready that Mrs. Mohagan put together to try and update some of our technology gadgets, including Lego robotics, to try and provide some more opportunities for our students to get those choice ready skills that they need to graduate. It's been a great year so far. Staff's working really hard. There's a lot of excitement, and I think that's translating into the students. So it's just been a great year. There's a lot of good energy going around. So with that, I'll open up to any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Lee?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hildebrandt?
Everything is in my report. I would just like to add to with our Veterans Day activities. It brought up conversations amongst our staff about ways that we can possibly get kiddos engaged with those people that are deployed, whether it's us sending notes to them. And the kids were coming up with those ideas, and then possibly like what's school like in other countries. And so it was fun to see the kids, take part in that conversation. And then as a teacher group too, we were collaborating on ways on how we can be maybe more creative and making sure we are having our younger students explore outside resources. Kudos to the teachers.
Any questions for Ms. Hildebrandt?
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And on to Granville.
My favorite word is awesome, so I'm going to say that. I think Granville's awesome. I'm very happy that Mars is here representing. He's also been selected as student of the quarter and just found out before we got in the district suburban. So congratulations for student of the quarter. Also a high honor roll student, so great job. And a sophomore class won the grade level contest for most homework submitted and fewest number of targets. So we're celebrating a lot in your grade and others. You're busy. Another thing I want to point out, speaking of Veterans Day, is the K through 6 teachers have just been going absolutely insanely, beautifully crazy getting together our project exhibition. We invite all of you from 1 to 3 p.m. tomorrow in our library. They've been writing essays, doing art projects, interviewing people, research papers. It's just they're really, really getting hands-on with Veterans Day, and that's fabulous. Good luck, Mrs. Macbeth, tomorrow. Our students are very nervous and happy for the competition, and we look forward to a successful basketball season.
All right.
Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And did Allison mention anything that wasn't in her?
So we just finished up our federal review in October. That was a very long and intense week. But thank you, Abby, for taking time out to answer all those awkward questions.
You're welcome.
You guys should get your reports by the beginning of the new year. And then Allison put a link to an orientation presentation in your guys' report. So if you have any questions about backstart explanations on how Head Start works, those are all in there, but you can reach out to her or I anytime.
All right, thank you. Our next item of business is to schedule our next meeting. second Wednesday would be the 13th of December. That work for everyone?
Works for me, we'll be in Granville.
It would be in Granville. So December 13th. Does 6 o'clock work? Everyone, now that we're in the dark months?
We have a concern.
Oh, yeah.
3 of us need to present, but we have TLA that night.
Oh, so that would be a
So
problem.
that
Okay.
is-
I'm guessing you probably don't wanna go on the 20th, the last day of the semester, before Christmas break. Is there another night that will work? I'm pretty open. So, other than the 4th is the Granville Christmas program, so I know that. I didn't put it on calendars yet.
I think you're looking at it.
I'd like to not do that. Yeah, at 12 is girls basketball and 14th starts CNBC.
So, do we wanna go with the 6th? Go the first Wednesday?
I'm flexible.
Would the 6th work? That would be the first Wednesday of the month?
That's fine, I mean, or if we could present in January, I mean, I don't know if that matters.
Oh, yeah.
To Mr. McNeff or not, or Dr. McNeff.
I will have to defer to Mr. McNeff on that.
He's left, yes.
No, I know.
Oh, okay,
I'm saying
I don't know if it
can't
matters to him.
comment on that. That's not my choice.
But otherwise, the 6th works.
Would the 6th work for you guys? And that way they can present and make sure that they're on their deadlines. And things. Will that work for you? Okay, so the 6th of December. in Granville, does 6 PM work? Everybody? 6 PM in Granville. Alright. There's nothing else. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Alright, thank you everyone for coming. Please make sure if you have not done so yet to sign in on the sign-in sheet. And, yeah, should be good to go. Thank you, everybody.
Are you ladies like all teachers? Okay, I was just wonding.
Are you still recording?
Yeah, and I was going to take a closer look at that cool pendant if you let me.
Can you stop?
Oh, sorry. I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable. I'll just try to point it away. Oh, so it's like all the little teacher things in a box.
No, you're good.
You're welcome. I was just wondering because, I mean, I see this and that on YouTube, and it's real life videos of real life people, but what's seriously real in one place might not be real in another.
All my dad's aunts or my dad's stuff are.
I'll defer to my wife's calendar.
Hi again.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I did have a question for you.
Yes.
You know that playground equipment, how the public can sort of access it after school hours?
Yes.
About how much weight are those monkey bars made to hold?
Gosh, that's a great question. Did you want to play on them?
I kind of already have been.
Good. I went across them and I'm okay.
Yeah, but you probably weigh about 100 pounds less than I do.
I don't think so. I'm just much taller than you, right?
Mm.
Are you going with I wanted to ask you, are you going with Mrs. Zinnel to the music concert on December 4th?
I don't
Oliver's
know. It
mom?
depends on if Oliver's mom's still speaking to me or not.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hope she is.
I kind of fell foul of her for recording the post office.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she's sort of speaking to me again. I guess so was the postal clerk when she found out that she could get in trouble for what she did. I feel bad for her, though, because both of us are survivors. I guess we handle it in different ways.
Well, I hope you mend your friendship because I thought you enjoyed being neighbors. And she
Yeah,
and
I
I sit
love her.
together at the music concert, so I wanted to see if you wanted to sit with us.
Yeah.
So keep me posted. Come by the school or give us a call, or you can email me. I know you have my email.
Yeah, I put it in my pouch, but I don't know if it's still in there. But I did want to email you. And hold on a minute. Let me grab my little notebook thing because I need to go ahead and send off an email. I want to make sure to it that I'm complying with rules. It's one thing when rules have to be broken. It's another thing entirely when I can comply. I'm sort of obligated to do so.
Well, I'm going to give you my email again. How's that?
Yeah,
And
let's
you
do
let me
that.
know.
Thank you. Yeah, so far, I mean, I kind of like the idea that this place is so wholesome. In Memphis, it's sort of a granted. Those poor kids have to wear uniforms. There's this and that going down.
Right.
Over here, well, there's still stuff going down, but it looks like it's a little bit healthier and it's more stuff I'd like to see little ones learn.
Absolutely, and good nutrition too. A lot of outdoor activity when the weather's nice, and lots of animals. I know
Yeah.
you're a cat lover. Well, I have to go. I have to take our student home, but I'm happy to see you. Okay.
Yeah, I
If you
gotta
have
say,
any
this is the
questions,
first
you email
unnatural
me.
hair color I've seen, but it sounds like you're definitely earning the right to have what you want.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Okay. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Hey, no judgment. I want to get pink hair when my hair goes all the way gray.
Yeah, look, I was right by minutes as I was going.
Being that face blind.
Oh, these two lines.
Oh, seriously?
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be dark.
But I'll, when I go through it, reread it.
Until Thanksgiving.
Changes, I'm sure, so.
Hi, a couple of things I did want to put in, but I noticed we weren't allowed to, we the public weren't allowed to comment. It's sort of like, you know, the Ingalls dinner table where the adults talk and the kids can't say anything. I've got a video from a lawyer and a number of other things talking about how the they're putting it in law that the new vehicles from 2026 on have to have cameras and drunk driving test things and other things where basically Big Brother can monitor your driving and somebody gets a situation like low blood sugar for diabetes or another medical emergency, the car can stop and leave them stranded. So you might want to, that thing about you doing the used vehicles, you might want to look into one that can be maintained long term. Cause
Yeah, these would be newer used vehicles.
Yeah.
You know, not the ones that we that we are trading in are 16 models, and so it would be newer than those. And that hasn't passed yet. I did just see that today, that issue coming up, but
yeah, somebody else said it had passed. The lawyer said it passed, but they were putting in somebody else was trying to put in a new bill to take that out for really obvious reasons. I mean, a number of very obvious and very important reasons, but I just thought I'd put that in there. Popular Mechanics and Consumer Reports, they're available by the Minot Public Library. You can go ahead and look up the vehicles for the, you know, ones that are expected to last the longest. You know, I just thought I'd put that in there because it's very important to, I mean, these days it's sort of, they get too many throwaway vehicles, and usually those ones, their reporting agencies are the ones that are checking in to see if they're mechanically sound and low maintenance.
yeah, I mean, it's something we'll have to look into if that does arise. But right now it's not, I guess I'm not worried too much about it until it's really into.
Yeah. Well, the part that scared the living daylights out of me was the idea that it'd have a camera on the people in the car no matter what. I don't mind doing my own private camera for my own private reasons. This is different from the overhead security cameras like at Walmart where they're advertising it. I actually got a big straw hat in my car year round for their security cameras. And I may actually start wearing the mask back in there because I talked to somebody in the bar over at Granville. They're like, yeah, their facial recognition technology already in there.
Could be.
Yeah.
So.
It's kind of nice to know that we're getting that much closer to the 5-minute cities, if you know what I'm talking about.
I guess I don't really know what the 5-minute city is.
What about the 15-minute city?
Well, just everywhere is within 15 minutes.
No, you'll have to look it up. It sounds tinfoil hat. The problem is it's just like the 2 weeks to counter the 2 week shutdown to counter the spread, which turned into, I think it was more than a year before we were able to finally make the government let go of us. One of the nice things not so nice things I was passing around is what happened north of the border in Canada. There's a hero, Arthur Pawlowski. He was in Poland before Solidarity, and he was a kid when it happened, but he saw it firsthand. His parents apparently saw it firsthand. He was able to talk to the people during that critical part of the history. He's like 3 years older than me, but it was sort of, it sounds sort of incredible. I remember the history because even though I get a lot of ugly ethnic slurs about it, that's the nation of my great-grandmother. My grandma was one of the first U.S.-born generations. You wouldn't think that we're a family of tremendous wealth and privilege or that we were extremely lucky. If you hear the stories of my grandma collecting coal along the railroad tracks and dented cans from the stores because the family lost the father early or the hardships my family went through. But all my aunts and uncles lived to be adults. None of them died of poverty. My grandma was not forced to abort my mother. And while that sounds pretty unremarkable, it's regular stuff that we take for granted, rights and protections we have in the U.S. To understand I went looking to see the past of my grandma's nation, Poland. And you go into the libraries anywhere, they don't talk about anything from the time my family immigrated to the U.S. Before the Great War. They talk about it from the dirty 1930s on when Hitler rose to power and ran over Poland. They talk about it when Uncle Joe Stalin got that nation, after World War II, and the living, breathing hell those people went through. And I'm sorry, I know it sounds tangential, but if you get a chance, Viva Free, Canadian lawyer and personality on Rumble, interviews Arthur Pawlowski, and it's a real important one to look up.
Okay, I will take a look at it. Thank you for your input and comments.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And you don't really share different things, but yeah, it's sort of a scary thing our societies are turning. It's so bad that the pastor is literally trying to evangelize the U.S. because he's like, we've already lost it in Canada. His family came over to Canada in 1982. They'd obviously seen a good deal worse than my family had. And he talked about the Canadian Charter and what it was supposed to be. And yeah, anyways, I guess it's sort of the reason I'm getting assertive too with this stuff here, because for me, this is a peaceful way to defend democracy right here, or the republic, or whatever you want to call it or believe. Right now, this is a peaceful way for us to make records, to say that what we're doing is important, to remember this is an impartial witness, and in my case, a disability accommodation. I'm both face blind and dyslexic.
Okay.
And thanks for letting me bore you to death.
Thank you for your input.
I was gonna just ask you about some fees and
Oh, sure, yeah.
I better go ahead and shut this off. Oh God, let me do what's right by you and your word. And I better go ahead and call in. Jesus, please let her be okay.